Welcome to the OAPN podcast with your host, Adarsh Sakare. No bullshit, no cuts, 100% raw conversations with 0% fucks to give. We don't encourage the consumption of alcohol, but if you want to open up a cold one while you watch this, it's not a bad idea.
Welcome to episode number 51. We have finally crossed the big 50, and it's nice to get on to the second phase of the podcast. And I hope you're excited as much as us. So this is episode number 51. Today we have someone very special in the studio. Before I introduce her, let's say hi to Aviva Bidapa.
Hey.
Hey, hi Aviva.
What's up?
Thanks for making it here.
My pleasure.
Like I mentioned.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I think we almost got an immediate response from Aviva to show up here. So we're pretty excited about this. So the designer entrepreneur Aviva is obviously, I think you've given many interviews over the years.
I have.
Quite
repetitive.
Yeah, quite repetitive. Okay, that's pressure on me right now.
No, not at all.
But I understand. So, of course, most of you all, not just through the interviews, but just through how open, if I may say so, her life has been in terms of not just milestones, but the different ventures she's been on. I think you all are pretty aware about it. And for the ones who followed her closely, I can guarantee you that this is going to be an interesting one. For the ones who haven't but want to, dive into her life a little more, maybe this is the episode
Definitely.
you want to watch. So yeah, welcome to episode 51,
Thank
folks
you.
who are watching. So Aviva, how's life going today? Just
Good.
generally.
Good. Life is good. Life is hectic.
Okay.
It's been a whirlwind for the past couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, somehow my head is right above the water. And
Yeah.
yeah.
What is taking most of your time today?
Well, basically, of course, the main business, which is event management, which is fashion shows, and now we're venturing now into corporate events. So that's kind of interesting, and then kind of doing like nice pop-ups for nice brands, and really before we were pretty hell-bent on just keeping it fashion and high fashion and mostly fashion weeks, but now I think we're all coming to terms with the fact that, times are changing and they want different kind of events. So yeah, it's been pretty interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to jump in to the work and the business side of things in a bit.
Yeah.
But I definitely want to dig into the initial stages a bit.
Right.
One of the first things I want to ask you is what was Aviva back in school? And I mean, so this is how, this was interesting. So in one of your interviews, I'm not a fan of watching a lot of interviews before I interview a guest.
Yeah.
But I just flip through stuff to get a vibe of who the person is. So just on one of these clips, you mentioned in this interview was released a year ago, and you mentioned that working on your own confidence, you said, you mentioned I don't know if I'm the expert about that, but you given advice on that interview. So talking about confidence, was Aviva as confident back in school? And if not, why?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I think in school was quite hard for me to navigate in terms of, like I said, I was a tomboy. I was into sport a lot. I mean, I didn't make friends very easily. Of course, I had a couple of friends in school and stuff, but I was never the popular kid and, the quote unquote, I don't know. I think I dealt with bullying. I dealt with a bunch of stuff. And I think, 100%. I think no matter, I think it comes in waves, it doesn't matter who you are, what you are. I think at some point everyone gets picked on, and I was very introverted, still am very introverted. So I mean, I have some memories from my early school where wasn't the best kind of environment. So I mean, of course your confidence takes a hit, and because I was more into sport, basketball, horse riding, all of that stuff, making friends was very secondary in my life. What was primary was winning goals. So I had a good team. I used to ride for a company called Embassy. So we had a really great team, close-knit team, all different ages. So it was fun.
This was in Ku?
This was in Bangalore.
Which school did you go to?
I went to Malyadati school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I went to Mounts, and then I went to London for an acting course. So yeah, I mean, when I was 18, I started to kind of gauge what dad did and realized very quickly you needed confidence, which I had zero of.
Okay.
And I wouldn't
But
say...
what was the reason? I mean, was it...
I don't know, actually.
was it talking to people? Was it a question about how... how your appearance is?
Yeah.
What was it?
Super, like I was fat and, I was like really like frumpy and weird. Yeah, I didn't even, for me, I didn't really know, the concept of vanity really. I was just like a sports kid, like a tomboy, and I was like, at one point, if I wasn't fat, I was pure muscle. Like you can still see it in my upper body now, like my I have huge biceps. It's like it's a lot for a girl to deal with,
go through.
So I don't know if it was confidence or just just not being aware and not really understanding like social etiquette, maybe you could put it, like how kids, teenagers are. I didn't vibe with it. I didn't get it. So I actually made friends outside of my school.
Okay.
When I was pretty young, in my teens, and they were like the coolest people ever, and we had a big group. Kids from Fabs, kids from all over the place. So yeah, it was really fun, and I had a great childhood. Early on, definitely hard, but
so what changed? What made you confident later on?
I don't know, maybe I could say definitely like the friends that I made outside of school, like everyone's like a mutual, everyone's cool, everyone's vibing, kind of like that. I think that's what really like sorted me out.
Okay. So you said you were not a popular kid.
Oh hell no.
But did you want to be one?
Well, I don't know. Maybe I think every kid wants to be popular. Every kid wants to be seen. But I don't know. I mean, I'd be lying if I said that I wanted to not have friends and be weird. Maybe. I don't know, actually. I haven't thought about it. Maybe.
Do you think that changed over the years? Like in terms of obviously the confidence, but you did get popular over time. What did that make you feel? Was it like a smell of success in some way?
Maybe. I think what happened was I just inherently stopped caring. Like, I stopped caring about what people thought of me or what the hierarchy was. I was just kind of doing my own thing. And I think people gravitate toward you when you're authentic and you don't really care. Yeah. So I think that's what clicked. But I wouldn't say I was popular or ever was popular. I just have a really, really close group of friends who I've had since childhood, and I don't venture out much. Okay. I'm comfortable, I'm happy, I'm safe, and I think in this day and age, it's pretty hard to make friends. People have ambitions, and it could be
intentions.
100%, and you never I'm never around enough to find out.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Growing up, what was it like at home in terms of expectations? What was expected out of you?
Huge. Actually, that's a funny question because I grew up in a very funny environment. So my dad was like super liberal in his thinking, obviously, and my mom was super conservative in hers. So rather than it being confusing for me, I think it kind of actually gave me a lot of balance.
You mentioned your dad was super?
He was super liberal in his thinking.
Super liberal in his thoughts. Okay, and your mom was the opposite.
My mom was
okay.
Like proper disciplinarian, like super strict, and she's pretty scary. All my friends were scared of her. Okay. Like she was very, very strict. Okay. And I like to think that I grew up with a really good balance,
Sure.
And expectations were huge. First from my mom, because I was an athlete.
Expectations of what nature?
She just wanted me to be she wanted me to go to the Olympics. I remember she was so into
really?
I was a horse rider, right? So she thought that would be my life, and she wanted it for me so badly, and I could see it in her face, like every time I'd ride and she'd be there. Like I think she wanted it more than I wanted it, so my dad, then I think as I got older, the expectations went to my dad. Like my dad was like, look, you're coming into the family business and I want you to be
a part of it.
Be a part of it and do well, better than me. So like I said,
that was the expectation.
Yeah.
Did that, did you welcome it openly in terms of being part of the business that the family is into, or was there a little?
No, I don't think. I think I had a streak of rebellion. I think
Okay.
definitely.
What was the streak of rebellion? What other paths did you
I think
try out?
I think both my parents knew like I had that streak in me where I was like, they tell me to do one thing and I would want to do the exact opposite, So my mom would force me into sport and I'd pull away, and my dad would force me to put my head down and work. I would pull away until I matured, I suppose. I was a kid. I had my own mind. I had my own, I was quite, I don't know, confident in my own opinions. Let's put it like that.
That's probably the best way to say it. I figured.
Yeah. But they were really cool, like they were so intelligent, like double income household, both of them
Lovely.
working.
Amazing.
And I think I grew up just seeing hard work, like hard work. And I think that was all it really took. I think kids learn like that,
By watching
By watching,
parents
yeah,
hustle.
absolutely, yeah.
Of course, while you were growing up, considering the fact that both your parents were working,
Yeah.
I don't think money was a big issue in the house. From
No.
where, or
Yeah.
was it?
I think it was. I think money has always been something my dad's always told me, like, it takes a couple of generations to make generational wealth. It takes one generation to lose it all.
To blow it up, yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's true.
Yeah. And it, of course, like I've seen my dad came from nothing. Like, he was like from Coorg, and his mom, lovely, like my awa, she was really supportive of him and pushed him, but he is completely self-made. So growing up, seeing that.
So did you have a lot of money to blow as a teenager?
No.
No.
Absolutely not. No way. And my parents were very, conservative like that. They'd never just give, like, I don't know what this narrative is, of people like thinking that I've grown up in this crazy,
Yeah, of course, anyone who has
situation,
some level of exposure towards fame and money, the first assumption is the children of the house are probably
100%.
given access to the bank account very early on.
Yeah, no, that never happened.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish. I would have had a great childhood, but no, that never happened. My parents were super smart with their money.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had trials and tribulations throughout growing up. It's never been easy, and like I said, hard work. I've seen it. I've seen what my dad's been through, and that's only motivated me to maintain it and make sure that I'm worthy of maybe stepping into his shoes one day, hopefully. I think it's really important to clear that up. It was very, very hard, I think.
So when you mention, your dad's shoes, what do you define it as?
Wow.
What do you define being in his shoes as?
I think maybe half as successful as he was, I would be pretty happy with. I think as a man, highly creative man, just can visualize, like, say for example, events, like the way he could just sit there and articulate and visualize this monstrosity of an event so effortlessly, and what people think it's very glamorous. It's not. It's you're showing up at 2 a.m. and starting stage design. You're there. You're doing everything from start to finish. And it has to go smoothly. So when you all enter an event of ours and you see everything running smoothly, and you see the fashion show and you see the lights, like that's taken maybe 20 hours to put together physically, and then months of planning prior. So that's.
What do you think he enjoys? What do you think motivates him?
His kids, for sure. His family. Hard family man. Works for us. He's a bit of a workaholic. I've realized he can't take a break. He's pretty hardcore. He starts to lose it if he's not working. But it's definitely his family. He works for us. I think we've always been a motivating factor to him. He's always told me fame is a byproduct. Like that is not what you chase. That's absolutely not what you chase. That just happens. And you shouldn't give it any kind of importance. I definitely his family, and he's a good man.
Sure.
He's really cool.
often find yourself comparing yourself to others in the industry? And
No. Never. I think that's the one biggest blessing I've had.
Okay.
I have never compared myself to anybody, to anybody's journey. I'm 32 now. I just turned 32, and I think, of course, when I was younger, maybe like you'd have like these fleeting moments of immaturity, and in your
going
in your
down this rabbit hole
adolescence. But one thing I think that I've always known, I think individuality is very important. And I've always had that belief. I don't know why, actually. I don't know where it came from, who taught me that. It just happened,
You've never really
And I don't really care. I don't care what other people are doing, I just...
You're pretty sorted by yourself.
Focused on my family, my friends, and I like to help whoever I can along the way. But I'm focused on myself as opposed to...
Yeah. So, irrespective of how much work anyone puts in, there's always a gap between who we are and who we want to be.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
For sure.
So, say on a personality trait wise, what's the gap for you? If you had to name the biggest thing that's lacking, that you wish was just like better off.
Better off.
What do you think that would be?
See, I don't know if any person can go through life like arrogantly thinking they never, there's a room for improvement. I don't know. I mean, I think for me it would be just, I think I doubt myself to a point where, say if I'm putting out a product, right?
Okay.
I'll believe in it. I'll believe in it. It's like looking in the mirror, right? The longer you look in the mirror, the more flaws you see, right? Yeah. But if you just catch a glimpse of it and you walk away, it's done. But for me, it's like I'll think of this product and I'll want to put it out. And if I spend too much time on it, I start to spiral. I spiral. So I'm like, no, this is not going to hit. It's not going to work. It's not going to sell. I need to redo everything. So maybe, I'd say maybe my confidence in my ability, that I would definitely...
Do you run by ideas by your father?
Everything. Yeah, I mean, look, I have this amazing, intelligent human being at my disposal. I would be stupid to walk around being like, I don't care, I'm on my own. No, this guy, I'm blessed. I have this human being who's been successful. He's been there, he's done it. He understands the industries. He understands, and he's there to help me. Yeah. And I think that makes me, I'm really grateful. And I think that I'm blessed. So
awesome.
I'd run everything by. I call him for everything. I'm just like
So looking back on your entrepreneurial ventures, what was the first time that you felt like you did something substantial?
Wow. I'll be honest with you. It was actually, I went to this school called Lambda in London for a semester course in acting. And when I tell you I had stage fright, I wouldn't have been able to sit here and talk to you. I was 23, 22. I was terrified, right? And I entered myself into a Shakespeare, a classical acting course. Okay. It was mind-boggling. I remember telling my friend at the time that if 5 minutes before I entered that school, someone told me what we'd have to do, I would have never gone. And somehow I entered and I finished this course. I came out of it with flying colors, but rattled me to my core in the process. So I think that's something I'm extremely, extremely proud of accomplishing. But on the business front, definitely the swimwear brand. Yeah, definitely. No doubt. It was blood, sweat and tears.
And this was started how many years ago, you mentioned?
I started Aviva swimwear in 2017.
2017. So it's been 6 years.
It's been, and it launched it took about a year and a half to launch. So I think at the end of 2018, we launched.
You launched it.
Yeah.
So what's the team like when you say Aviva swimwear? How many folks are with you working on this?
At the time, it was an all girls group. I had my PR. I had a lot of the people. So I work mainly in my father's office, right? So
Yeah.
we have this massive team.
Sure.
And as far as Aviva Swimwear was concerned, it was actually just me. It was just me working on it, doing it, and then of course input from my dad. But it was just me for the longest time. And with partners in Sri Lanka, I had an amazing partnership in Sri Lanka with a company called Linea Aqua. I've mentioned them before.
Yeah.
So yeah, for the most part, it was just me. But then I think when we launched, it was definitely like I was taking help from the event management company because I was, of course, I work. That is my day job.
Yeah.
So it kind of worked pretty well in terms of. It all fell together, and it was all under one roof. But yeah,
That's nice. You mentioned that you're working on a new venture now, right? So if you can speak about this and where you want to take this on.
Yeah, so essentially I started off with swimwear because I saw a gap in the market and I wanted a nice homegrown kind of.
Is it tough to sell swimwear in India?
Hugely. I will say, I think with swimwear was really trial and error for me. It's a great product to sell, but when you study the market, I feel like twice a year it sells really well, but no longevity throughout the year. And eventually, whatever it is you do, you need to be able to grow. You need to be able to in the same industry, of course. So I dabbled. I thought, okay, fine, maybe I should get into resort and maybe I should do something. But then I kind of landed on athleisure, and it's something that is close to me because I wear athleisure every day of my life, and I'm like, I know what I like. I know what is trendy, I suppose. But yeah, so I decided pretty early on that swimwear would always be part of my brand name. But I think the whole point of it was to move ahead. So now I'm getting into athleisure, hopefully to release maybe end of 2024.
Sure.
So yeah, it's a long and hectic journey, but I hope to get it in stores and available to the customer by the end of 2024. Yeah.
Lovely. You've spent a lot of time out of India, and approximately how long would you say? You've lived outside India?
No, I lived in London for about 6 months, and then I lived in Bombay for a year.
Okay.
But other
than that, you've been here, right?
Proper.
So, have you ever had the need to move out of India?
No.
And the reasons are?
Love my country. Don't get me wrong, I think learning other cultures and living abroad, all great, to grow and experience stuff, but there is no place like home.
Yeah.
As far as business is concerned, as far as culture is concerned, as far as everything known to man, it's home. This is home. It's the best place to be. And I think when you're raised here, it's very hard to, get that feeling of, I don't know what you'd call it. It's just like this feeling you get when you're at home,
Yeah.
It's like a confidence. It's a happiness. Yeah.
It's where you belong.
Yeah.
And this is something now, I see my own friend circle, and a lot of them have this lifelong dream of just moving out of India, right? And I have nothing against it, but I just feel like we now are in a place where the country has everything you ever need.
Why would you go?
Why would you leave?
Yeah.
Right? Everything that you want is right here. Everything that you want to achieve professionally can be done right
100%.
here. And of course you can go and travel the world.
Yeah.
But
I just think I think the onus is on us as the new generation to kind of be a part of the rise of India. It's slowly but surely going to become a superpower.
Yeah.
We have some of the most intelligent people in the world. I think that if you hone in on a skill and master it, you must bring it home. It's just the way I think. But that's no hate to anyone who wants to go abroad and work. That's fine, because quality of living, 100% better. But I just think that there's a duty that an Indian has to come back and help India flourish.
Stuff here. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
So when you mentioned the word generation, right? So you are a millennial, right? So you are a millennial.
Yeah.
So we both are. Even Chirag is not a millennial. Chirag is not a millennial. Aditya is Gen Z.
Oh yeah, Gen Z.
So that's my question, right? So what's your take on Gen Z? What's your
I
take on
love-
Gen Z? And
Dude, I love them. I think they're like fearless.
I was asking you, what do you hate about them, basically?
Well,
Before you start.
no. So here's the thing, okay? I remember very distinctly
Yeah.
when I was growing up, people used to like whatever we did. Oh, millennials are the worst. And I just thought to myself, I was like, what are we doing? Like that's offending y'all so much. We're just existing, like, you know. And now I find the same kind of like taunting,
Treatment.
happening to Gen Z, and it makes me. I just remember being taunted as a millennial. So I'm just like, you know, you do you. As long as y'all are, I feel maybe emotionally y'all could be a little stronger.
Wow.
But for the most part, y'all are great. Y'all are creative. Y'all are outspoken.
Yeah, very.
Fearless.
Yeah.
So that's cool. But yeah, I think they're a bit sensitive. That's
Yeah.
the only thing.
What do you think the millennials got better than the Gen Z? Not in terms of we are better than them, but in terms of having it. Like I just
we
feel
were
like
the last generation to grow up outside.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think I got my first phone when I was like 16, 17. Yeah, 16 maybe. And for the most part, I grew up outside.
Yeah.
I was playing with animals and playing in playgrounds and doing sport. And now everything's like, you know, online. And
Yeah.
it's scary because,
Yeah.
you know, you'd see those memes of like 13-year-olds then and 13-year-olds now.
Yeah.
It's hugely
extremely
different. So
scary.
I think we lucked out 100%.
Yeah, we were like
Yeah.
the last lot.
And they're the first generation like I think they're the first generation who's actually trying to navigate through this online
Yeah.
world, you know, so it's like really trial and error for them as well.
And it's not like anyone chooses into being born into something.
Yeah,
It's like
100%.
you're born in the phase.
It
and
is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
So that's what I wanted to talk to you about. Slightly now, it's very related to this question.
Yeah.
Our parents always told us that dating was never a big concept
Right.
while they were growing up.
Yeah.
And that's obvious. And then, of course, for the millennials, it was, I would say, a mix of both the conservative and
100%, yeah.
completely given exposure type
Yeah.
of thing. And now it's, of course, completely changed again
Yeah.
with Gen Z. I really want to know your view on like the whole dating scene today, and view on marriage of sorts.
Right.
How do you think things are going with Gen Z?
Yeah, this will actually
specifically?
surprise you, but I kind of inherited as far as marriage and you know that kind of. I inherited my mom's viewpoints, who's
Okay.
quite
Which was?
conservative in terms of like, look, marriage is a big deal. Being with somebody is a big deal. Marriage is for life. You got to really be sure, and you got to like it has to be foolproof. You know, it's not something you do on a whim.
Yeah.
So for me, I think I am very comfortable in my feminine, and I'm very comfortable in allowing the man to be a man. And I think that's really, really important. And I worry that I'll be very fair. I'm quite worried about this this movement of people almost, you know, putting it down to be like a feminine woman who's takes care of the home and who takes care of her husband and her children. And that's getting a bit skewed, and that's kind of alarming for me as far as...
And why do you think that's getting skewed?
Well, you know, that's a big conversation, and I've always actually wrestled with it, you know, whether to talk about it or not.
Sure.
But I think it's happening because you know, every massive movement has fallout.
Yeah.
And the feminism, like this whole feminist movement was huge and good for the most part. But then I think it started to take on a pretty, you know, sinister role in terms of trying to, instead of uplifting women, you're basically trying to tell them that if you're not successful and on power with a man, then you're not worthy. That's a dangerous narrative. That is a very, very dangerous narrative. So yeah, I think that's what I'm scared of.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm scared.
Yeah, I think that, you know, that remains such a big conversation, right? Like today when, say, even if a girl voluntarily says that I'm very passionate about building a family
Right.
and taking care of the family and being at home and ensure like the chores of the home get sorted
Right.
and ensure like
Right.
she's there for the man,
Yeah.
doing her bit. Why has that suddenly been looked down upon so much? Because that's probably one of the most important
The
roles
million-dollar
in a
question.
household.
Oh, 100%. And I truly believe like, women, we're nurturing by nature.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah, it's there in you. It's given to you.
it's important to it's important for us to remain soft and kind and always the caretaker.
Yeah.
And I don't see anything wrong with wanting to be a homemaker, and that's not to say that you can't go out there and have a business, but nobody should tell you that if you want to stop working and have a kid, nobody has the right to tell you that's wrong and that it's frowned upon and that you're some part of some archaic way of thinking. No, that's wrong. And I think every woman is entitled to what ultimately is going to make her happy.
Yeah.
So maybe you don't want to settle down and maybe you want to work and you want to have this high powered job. That's cool. Or maybe you do. You just want to settle down and rear a family and live a softer life and allow your husband to whatever it is. It's fine. But I just think that you don't have to in order to push one up, you don't have to pull the other down.
Pull the other down.
Right. So I think that's what I'm kind of worried about. But yeah, everyone's entitled to their own
choice.
Own
like,
choice.
do
100%.
what suits you.
100%.
Because I really don't get it, right? Like today in conversations, in most circles, it's almost frowned upon for the girl to say, you know what, I don't want to work.
100%. And
I don't get it.
Yeah, I'm not ashamed to say it. Like the day I decide that it's time to settle down and have children, my career will take a backseat.
Yeah.
I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not, in any way. I don't know. I don't look at it as oh my God, she's like leaving her career. No, that's my choice. I'm going to have a kid and I'm going to settle down and I'm going to give every ounce of my attention to this child. And I think that's going to be one of my greatest gifts, God willing. So, that's just how I see it.
So even marriage as an institution
100%,
has
100%.
started to lose a lot of votes.
It has.
Of late,
It
right?
has. Yeah, it has.
It's lost a lot.
Right.
I mean, it's. I think it's winning 3 out of 10 times. I think 7
always. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
How do you look at marriage as an institution, and what's the one reason it's failing today?
Okay, so wow, loaded question. Okay, so marriage as an institution, I think, is extremely important, not for you as an individual, but if you want to have children.
Yeah.
I think it's important that a child grows up in a loving home, in a loving environment. And, I think again, the next generation is as important as we are. So for me, the institution of marriage is extremely sacred, important, and something that you don't take lightly. And it's funny because my mom actually taught me a lot of this.
Sure.
She actually made me the woman I am because only mothers can do that.
Yeah.
I truly believe that she's the one who has me who basically taught me that a happier life is when you settle down and you're happy and you have this beautiful family you can raise, and it's the most rewarding thing in the world.
Yeah.
So for me the institution of marriage is so important. I can't even put it into words. I'm feeling gobsmacked. I don't know where to start.
Why do you think it's failing?
Why do I think it's failing? I think it's failing because, again, people, I think, don't want to adjust. I think everyone's on their own trip and everyone is so hell-bent on maybe powering through. And I think there's an air of selfishness in the air. Mm-hmm. And I really think that, look, I'll say this again. I'll say that, look, if you don't want to get married, that's fine. Okay, I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to say that one is correct and one is wrong. No. But I think it is definitely failing because the new generations just don't want to adjust to another person.
Yeah.
And I think that's the crux of it. I mean, I wouldn't know. I've not studied it or figured out why, but
I think that's definitely one of the reasons, right? Because growing up, even for me in my household, what the parents and the family always spoke about was, irrespective of what fights arise between a man and a woman, you adjust and you keep going.
And you smile and carry on, because look, when you get married to someone, this is going to be your partner for the rest of your life. Okay, this is somebody who, one, you need a friendship with. Okay, love is the fairy tale of it is just so skewed now. It's like you're looking for somebody who you can do this life with. It's a horrible thing to be alone. It truly is. It's a horrible thing to have to go through life without somebody there you can count on. And I think it's a beautiful thing, to choose somebody who's your best friend, who you laugh with, who you're happy with, and that's it. Like, you'll have problems. I don't know anyone who's gone through life without issues. But you got to work through it.
While there are other issues, like for example, you said people are selfish. I think another big thing has also become the increase in infidelity in marriages.
Right.
What do you feel about infidelity, and would you forgive it?
Wow. I think infidelity is truly like scum level. Like, I'll be very honest. I think that is just, I don't know. I don't know how I know how I feel about infidelity. I think it's absolute, like, you to be in, like, to do that, I think you need to be a certain level of scumbag. And I'll be very honest, because you're putting everything on the line, for something that's just on a whim, I suppose. Would I forgive it?
Would you forgive it?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think that's for me the deal breaker. I think for me, I think the way I see a relationship is very sacred, right? I find the energy very sacred. And I find, like I said, I don't know. I just think that infidelity would tarnish that level,
energy.
like that purity. And I think purity is important to survive the long haul. Whatever it is, you can fight, scream, whatever. But you don't break up a family on a whim. And I just think that people who would succumb to being in doing something like that have to be extremely weak and insecure in the mind. So that's just how I feel.
A lot of people who cheat on their partner will end up saying, it doesn't mean I don't love you.
Oh God. So what does it mean? I mean, it's logic, I think some people, I think that's a manipulative way to be, to just kind of manipulate, gaslight your partner into thinking either it's their fault or it doesn't mean, what does it mean then, And
I also feel, personally, I just feel like when you're locked in, and when, like you mentioned, right, when you're in that energy and that sacredness, it's almost impossible to cheat.
I think
like if you're there,
thinking, absolutely. Like,
how do you do it?
Absolutely,
It's just like a tunnel vision where you're locked in and it's done.
Absolutely. And marriage, especially, it's so much at stake. It's like modern marriage is not just like, oh, you're in love and you're eloping. No, the families are involved. We're Indians at the end of the day. It's like respect. It's respect, so much. And if you can't respect the human being that you're with, then I truly think that, I just think that you're with the wrong person, because if you're with the right person, you wouldn't even, it's inconceivable. Like, why would you do something like that, especially if you're in love? So I think a lot of people settle. I think they get married for the sake of getting married, and then it just backfires. But for the most part, I think infidelity is scumbag level.
Do you think you can lead a happy life with a partner without getting married?
I don't think so. I think it's important to get married, especially. Actually, it's kind of like the dichotomy of it all. It's like, okay, fine. I know I've seen people. Firstly, there are people who are not allowed to get married in India, and they've lived super successful lives, and But yeah, I think marriage is important because it's just like an oath, right? You're standing up and taking an oath in front of your family, your friends,
Yeah.
God, even, and saying like, look, I want to be with this person, and I'm giving my word to you that I'm going to be the best version of myself I can be for you. And I think there's something very beautiful about that. Not to say like, yeah, I mean, I think if you've been together more than 15 years in India, there's some common law. I don't know. Yeah, there's some common law thing where you'll pretty much get the same rights. But actually, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, I mean, why not? You know, what is so taboo? Like, why is the world moving in this weird direction where, you know, everything that was culturally appropriate is now somehow deemed like horrible? Like, you know, that's...
Who are your go-to people? Like you keep mentioning, like there's a circle with you.
Yeah.
Like who are your day ones?
So I have 4 girls.
Okay.
There's Rukshana, there's Soundarya, Megha, and there's a girl called Ankita. So
And are they all here in Bangalore? Or are they all like
so
over the place?
Rukshana, Megha, and Soundarya in Bangalore. One's a lawyer, one works in she works with a builder, and the other one's a designer. And then Ankita is a very, very famous copywriter, and she lives in Amsterdam. No, London now.
Okay.
So these are my core. Like,
Yeah. Who you go to?
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, there's one thing that's always been on my mind about people. I mean, obviously, you sitting there wouldn't call yourself successful, but you are. I mean, you would be successful in a lot of ways. I understand there's a long way. Yeah. But
constantly
there are
aiming.
there are parts of your life that you've done well.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm sure like there are phases in life where you're just demotivated.
Oh yeah, all the time.
And what is your like one go-to thought process about just getting up every day and
See, for me, it's
going for
more, I think, so I have a very working mind. So if I'm kind of stagnant for a long time, I tend to get into my own head, and it's a very toxic place for me to be.
Yeah.
So for me, work is, or just being productive and kind of getting stuff done is paramount to my mental health.
Okay.
You know, it's of course I have like these off weeks even where I'm just so demotivated, can't I can't get it together. But at some point I kind of I got to get up and do something. Otherwise I'm going to fall into this rut and I'm not going to be able to get out.
Yeah.
So for me it's that. That's...
Do you get called back to your school and college?
No, actually. I wonder why.
Oh my God.
Call me back. Yeah.
They should.
Yeah.
I think.
But my mom actually still, so my mom was a director. Mm-hmm. So she recently directed a play for Aditi. So she keeps going back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun. It's a fun kind of activity she does on the side.
Sure. The reason I asked you that is like you've had this attempt at learning acting.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if you maybe went back to school and like took a few classes. But if not, how's your journey been on the acting front? And have you considered yourself an actor? Because you didn't allow me to use the tag of an actor.
No. So I'm not an actor. So actually the reason I went to acting school was not to act, as funny as that sounds. I went to get confident.
Sure.
You know, I went to put myself in this. Both my parents were actors. My mom was a theatre actor.
Yeah.
So they always told me, like, go to a theatre course. There's nothing that will make you more, that'll take you out of your comfort zone more than theatre. Yeah. So for me, when I went in, I was like, I need to go into this and then get a handle on my stage fright, my ability to talk to people, communicate. Yeah. That was kind of the motivation behind acting.
To take up the course.
And then coming back, I've had a few. It's never been something that interests me. I don't like attention. I don't like to be like my own. You have no idea. I can't stand it. Like I don't like to be.
You
the
don't
center.
Want to be
no.
in the limelight at all.
Never ever. Mm-hmm. So I think that's kind of I never considered myself an actor. I had no aspirations to be an actor ever. Sure. It's just something I find it a beautiful art. I really do. I have a lot of respect for actors, and I mean some of my favorite pieces of art are in the form of movies.
Sure.
And so I have great respect for it, and I don't think I'd ever do justice to being an actor. No, I leave that to the professionals.
Does that, I mean, I also like, this was my this is my opinion rather, like when I look at your social media as well, I feel like there's so much more that you can put out. Like,
oh my God. Yeah.
I was like, wow, there's so much more you can put up, but it's not there.
So I'm not a social media kid. It actually gives me horrible anxiety.
Is it?
Yeah. I cannot bear, like I said, to be essentially what you're putting out a picture and you're going to be judged for it, positive and negative.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like I have a social media. See, social media is important for me in my business because when the brand hits,
that's what,
I'm going to need my social media to promote it.
Reach out. And,
so I have a lot of respect for social media, but I definitely don't think that if you don't have, I think putting out too much content is also counterproductive.
Yeah.
Because again, you're just setting yourself up to, I don't know, it can be a very negative space. So for me, I tend to stay away. It's not I don't enjoy social media, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's not something.
So there's no real plan to like put out more content and.
Yeah, I mean, once my brand hits, I'll definitely.
Then there's some work.
Yeah. That's when my creative juices. Otherwise, I'll have to post a selfie, which is who cares? Like no one's be like, okay, why are you posting a selfie? We know what you look like. You know, so kind of like that.
What about your fiance and his involvement in your work? Like, is he?
Well, I will say he is.
And your involvement in his, how does that work?
No, I have no involvement in his career. I think he's highly intelligent, like a truly, truly wonderful human being. Smart, talented, driven, and I just like quietly support him. I think that he is one of the most capable human beings I've ever every time you have a I have a conversation with him and he never ceases to blow my mind. He's highly intelligent and I'm super lucky. But as far as our careers are concerned, if I say, for example, I will of course ask him for his input in with designs and stuff. But again, we both know our fortes, and I'll talk to him like a fan. I'll be like, oh, I really like this, and you looked really nice here, and just superficial stuff. You know what I mean? And he gets it. He's like, yeah, whatever, And then it also gives you something to talk about. He comes back from his day, I come back from my day. We're not really involved in each other's lives, so we have a lot to talk about and discuss. Sure. So I think that's actually quite good. That that you're like, okay. Do you go back to Coog a lot? I do, but I haven't been back to Coog in 2 years. Okay. First it was because of the pandemic. I had gone somewhere in the middle, but or for a wedding, I think. But I've just been so busy, and now the wedding's coming up. It's
so. I mean, I don't know if even I don't know, or when is it planned? I mean, is that something you'll have put out? I don't know. Yeah. That's fine.
But soon,
that's fine. But soon. How is that making you feel?
I'm excited. I'm nervous. I don't know what to expect from marriage. Marriage is hard, but we're lucky because we both have parents. Our parents are so supportive and help us navigate it.
Sure.
So both of us don't know what to expect from marriage as such. Because it's when you're right before you're getting married, all you've seen is your parents being married. You don't have any other.
There's no other reference.
Exactly. There's no reference. So I really don't know. Both of us don't know how it's going to be. We just know that we're best friends and we're going to have a great time and, support each other. And so it's been interesting. Of course, I'm not going to lie and say it's not stressful. It's very stressful with all this rubbish that I don't get. Oh my God, the decor and the food, who cares?
So what, it's going to be a fancy wedding?
Yeah, I mean, fancy.
Fancy is also underestimating it.
I will publicly on record say that me and Abhishek have nothing to do with it. It's our parents and they are the boss and they say jump, we'll ask how high. That's the end. Yeah.
Wow. It's nice. Just a couple of last things I wanted to kind of touch upon. If there's one business that Aviva would want to be in but has never ventured into, what do you think that would be? Something totally off
topic. Weirdly, I've always wanted to open a restaurant in some obscure beach town. Just
Okay.
retire there,
Okay.
be
So
by
that's
the beach, have about 10 dogs and
Wow.
just chill.
Yeah, you're a big pet lover.
Yeah, I have 12
understand.
dogs at home. Yeah.
What?
And one cat. Yeah.
12?
I have 12 dogs, yeah.
Wow, how are people like? I mean, are people around you? Everyone is a pet lover. Or-
Me, my mom, my dad, my brother, all of us obsessed
Yeah?
with animals, save. Like we have a bunch of rescues. So we just
Wow.
love animals. And we have like a farmhouse in Yelahanka.
Okay.
So it's like, makes sense.
And how does Abhishek?
He poor
See
guy,
your-
yeah, he's allergic to dogs.
What?
Yeah, but
Then how are y'all
he's-
going to like?
No,
what
no,
are y'all
he's-
planning?
No, he'll sort it out. Don't like. He loves dogs. He loves animals.
Okay.
So it's quite like it just. I think seasonally he gets allergies. Yeah, it's quite bad.
That's nice.
Yeah.
And so, is there something? So this is on the business venture side, but in terms of exploring, say, your talents, anything else that maybe you've thought of in the past, and it might pop up in the future.
So I've actually started cooking recently.
Okay.
And
See,
I
there you
love
go.
it. Man,
Yeah?
I don't know. I find it so therapeutic. So
Okay.
of course I'm training myself. I just,
Sure.
I read recipes online, I watch videos, but I just find there's something, I'm of course very new and it's either a hit or miss, I will
Okay.
admit. But dude, I love it. I don't know what
Yeah.
it is. Like it's so, I don't know, calming. It's like, playing a board game and you have like this goal and there's certain things you have to do and get it done. And I just, so maybe
Wow.
one day, you never know, I'll become a master chef.
Master chef,
And I'll
Aviva.
actually open this restaurant. Hopefully one day.
Nice. So Aviva, that's pretty much from me. I think this was great.
No, I had so much fun. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming here. I think one thing I definitely want to say is your positivity is very infectious. I
Thank
think
you.
we can all agree.
Thank you guys.
It's very infectious. It's amazing to see. And another thing I want to bring up, right? Like, irrespective of where you come from, if you have the right values,
100%.
and if you're like just aware of your roots,
100%.
I think that solves a lot of things
100%. Yeah.
for you. So it doesn't matter if you come from money, don't come from money, come from exposure, don't come from exposure. And I think a large part of the credit always goes back to the parents,
Yeah.
because everything's built on the values
Right.
they gave us,
100%.
and that's all it's ever
Yeah.
gonna be.
Yeah,
there's
100%.
there's nothing else, right?
Yeah.
So it's really nice to see how a large part of this interview was about you speaking about the values your parents gave
Yeah.
you. And if people can just remember that and just try
Yeah.
remembering like what were those values,
It's the
what were
greatest
those-
gift you'll
Yeah.
ever receive.
There's nothing else,
Because there's nothing,
Yeah.
I can promise you that if you live a life
Yeah.
that is full of kindness and virtue and you're grounded, there is very little that will go wrong in your life.
Yeah.
And I've seen it. Like, I just find it to be one of the most valuable things your parents will, and everyone's parents they give it to you, and
Yeah.
you should definitely cherish it.
Yeah.
And
and you should listen to it.
100%.
Listen to it.
100%.
Yeah.
I'll advocate for them any day. Because, you've
Yeah.
growing up, you also, everyone rebels and they don't
Yeah.
realize the value of their parents.
So definitely, loved the infectious positivity. Loved the fact that you spoke about their values so much. I think these are things, if someone's watching this, I think these are things you should take away from the podcast, irrespective of where your life goes. If you're just deep rooted, sticking to the values that your parents gave you, I think it pretty much sorts out your life to a large extent.
100%.
So thank you so much, Aviva.
Thank
This
you.
was
Thank you
awesome.
for having me. Thank you guys. It's been fun.
This was episode 51 of On a Personal Note with Adarsh Sakare. We'll see you on the next one.